name is Chase Johnson. I'm from Denver, Colorado, and we have used C3 Group several times on some of our large loss commercials and our higher end residential for their appraisal services and their public adjusting services. Their knowledge of the market, of the ever-changing regulations, and their ability to create a very thorough estimate from an understanding of construction and the management of the project.
Good afternoon, everyone. Lead meteorologist Sean Choquette here for our daily 12 p.m. hail forecast. As always, sponsored by C3 Group and Merrill Law Group. Check out both of their pages in the description below if you're watching us here on Facebook. And just a friendly reminder, if you need any help with the website and the app, feel free to give us a call or message us on Facebook, however you want to contact us, and we will happily set up a training at your earliest convenience. And it doesn't have to be one-on-one. It can be us with like your whole team if you have to, especially if you're new with Hail Trace and you want to have everything squared away and you know how to work the system as good as possible for when that big storm does happen in your area. So, forecast for today, I got two different areas we're looking at, two main areas we're looking at here. First of which is probably what most of you guys are noticing is Colorado Front Range seems to be turning back on today. Looks like we could see some storms form in the afternoon here near Denver, all the way down I-25 towards Colorado Springs and Pueblo. Up to 2-inch hail possible, I think, for any of the strongest storms. Probably more common, a lot of that high volume or high quantities of hail that Colorado tends to typically have, more sub-severe up to ping pong ball size hail. But I think if we get any particularly strong storms, get up to 2-inch hail there. I have 15% chance for Denver, and that pretty much includes the whole Front Range area, all the way from Colorado Springs up through Fort Collins. I just kind of do a blanket statement because it's all the same basic. The storms form pretty much right off the mountains and impact the I-25 corridor. Elsewhere, we have a chance for hail across Kansas. I have Wichita at a 5% chance, or up to maybe tennis ball size hail. Any storms that can get really strong there. Anywhere in the orange, these are going to form roughly around the same time as when the storms happen across Colorado. And yes, there's a 2% chance for Kansas City, but I think most of that activity is going to stay south of you guys for today. Off to the East Coast, we have a chance for hail up to ping pong ball size in the absolute strongest storms, but for the most part, probably a much bigger wind threat, especially in New England, where it looks like there will be some storms forming in the next couple of hours. 5% chance for Boston for up to ping pong ball size hail. New York City, 2%, and DC, where you had a storm yesterday, had up to some what looked to be near golf ball size hail near the capital. Another chance for that again today, though I think the chance is a little better further to your north. Only reason 5% for Boston and 2% for New York City is most of the major East Coast cities are right along the coast, so it's a little more challenging to get these storms to make it right there. Probably a higher chance in places like Springfield, Massachusetts, or Albany, or even further south towards Hartford and Waterbury, Connecticut. So we'll be watching both of these areas very closely. A little closer look at Denver and Colorado Springs. They are between 3 and 10 p.m. Mountain Time. It looks like storms will form that maximum size up to 2 inches, 15% chance for hail, and of that, I'd say a pretty good chance if we get a storm up to a 3-star map, just because, again, it's a very densely populated area, and all you need to get a 3-star map is some ping pong ball size hail over a decent amount of people. So we'll be watching this super carefully, and of course we will go live if anything does occur, whether it is in Denver, Colorado Springs, or even on the East Coast. We'll go live if any big storms happen this afternoon. And so, future radar, you can see looks to be some pretty gnarly looking storms forming this afternoon, again after about 3 o'clock local time in Colorado, and it should wind down in a few hours after sunset around 10, 11 o'clock or so. Again, seeing quite a bit of activity, and again, another common theme with storms in Colorado is they'll form and just kind of meander around, so they're not going to form and just like move immediately off to the east. You see this particular cell there, just as an example, kind of rolls off the mountains and kind of moves south, north, wherever it's going to be. It tends to happen sometimes. That's where you get those big, wide, encompassing hailstorms across the Front Range. So do those hail dances today. Maybe we can get a few of those to pop up around Denver. Into Kansas, we see some storms forming as well. Looks to be more clustery could be kind of a mess by the time it gets towards Oklahoma. But for the most part, any of those isolated storms, those initial developments could see upwards of tennis ball size hail. We'll see if that can actually make it to Wichita. And unfortunately, these storms tend to want to try to stay away from Kansas City. Kansas City, again, seems to be pretty good at having hail repellent or something this year, because you guys can't seem to catch a break. And on the East Coast, you see the storms forming this afternoon. Again, generally a lot in central and eastern New England, places like, if you're not from this area, you're not aware, it's these 6 states here. So a lot of eastern Massachusetts, parts of Connecticut, New Hampshire, Maine, all seeing the potential for some hail this afternoon. And yes, even extending further south towards the nation's capital, parts of Pennsylvania, New Jersey, watching all of that very carefully for today. Okay, tomorrow we have 2 areas we're watching. Not going to be as big of a hail threat, I think, as today is going to be. Biggest hail is going to be in eastern Montana, where there aren't too many people at. So up to golf ball size hail there. I have no real cities to even really mention. Maybe Rapid City is the far eastern end, and otherwise kind of rural up in here. However, further to the south, we have a pretty extensive risk extending from parts of the Texas Panhandle all the way towards Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. We'll see some storms forming in the afternoon. Right now, I'm thinking more marginal for hail, only up to about $0.5 size, and strong gusty winds, and obviously a lot of heavy rain. Future radar showing in parts of Montana into Wyoming. Some storms forming up. Looks like, again, that initial development could add to some golf ball size hail, but it's starting to look like we might see more of a line of storms forming in the evening hours. Moving further south, you see a lot of activity trying to form right near 5, 6 o'clock near Oklahoma City and places to the north and to the east. We'll be watching this carefully, seeing how Oklahoma City is our home base. This, to me right now, looks more like a lot of very heavy rain and strong gusty winds, but you never know. We could actually squeeze out a decent hailstorm out of that. I'm sure no one will complain about that. And also, more of the same of what we saw in Oklahoma just a moment ago across a pretty vast portion of the Ohio River Valley and near the Mississippi River Valley for the day tomorrow. Again, any of those stronger storms could have more marginal hail with those. So that's all I got for you guys today. Follow us here on Facebook. As always, hit see first, so that way all of our posts will be at the top of your news feed. It may not get notified via Facebook of any stuff because the algorithm's kind of weird, but it'll still show up at the top of your news feed as much as I know anyway. So make sure you follow that, especially if we go live later with any sort of coverage for big time storms. Give us a call, numbers right there, 855-334-4245. Any comments, questions, or concerns you may have, might be interested in Hail Trace, or if you need a step of training, it's a great number to call. You can email us as well, info@hailtrace.com, and of course visit our website for more details at hailtrace.com. And finally, follow us on Instagram at hailtrace for more updates and sometimes some behind the scenes stuff as well. All right, guys, do those hail dances. I know a lot of folks in the Denver area want to have a big hailstorm today. So do those hail dances. Maybe we'll be back a little bit later. If not, I'll see you guys again tomorrow at 12 p.m. I'll talk to you later.